Talk about business. Hey, we're live. Okay, we're back. All right, we are live to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn again. Hopefully LinkedIn's cool with it because the other one didn't work, so we deleted that one. Let us know if you can hear us right now. Let us know if you can hear us right now live.
There's nobody to hear us.
Well, hopefully
that's because I'm such a hater, bro.
Why? Okay, this is Gino's topic. No, it is your topic. No, yeah. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, like, this isn't working. Like, right? Like, can anyone hear us? Can anyone hear us?
I hope they can.
That's how much of a hater.
They might. Why are you such a hater, though?
See, there you go.
I just don't understand that.
See, that's a perfect topic. Isn't everybody a hater now? Like,
well, see, like now you might have swerved yourself into a topic.
Oh, okay.
You might have swerved yourself. You may have swerved yourself into a topic.
It is. Everyone is a hater.
But would you say that it's part of this whole?
No, I think that we've all been recalculated to hate on everything. Like, we have like a lot of people who are like just instantaneously interested in being outraged.
Do you think it's part of this whole woke situation?
Well, either way, it's both sides.
It's both. Well, yeah. Right. I'm not taking a side. Okay, that's fine. Fine.
Like, so when you say the word woke, okay. I think sometimes the anti-woke is almost as woke as the woke.
Is it part of the hyper-partisanship?
No, I think it's just like everybody wants to hate. Like, you're such a hater, bro.
Right? You're gonna. Like, I feel like this is some kind of game or something.
No, it's not. Like, we've literally sat there.
Let us know if you can hear us here in the chat, please. Let us know if you can hear us in the chat. I'm testing out some new equipment here. We do see that we got someone there listening. So
somebody's on.
Someone's on.
One person.
So we're live.
So we have one hater. There's one hater.
You're gonna hammer this theme.
What? I mean, seriously though. But is the hater actually like? Can they hear us?
I don't know. I hope they can.
Your equipment sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's great. We just have to. We're testing it.
No, we're not testing.
We're testing it. You don't give me any time to really test it.
Right. Not anyone's even.
Let me do my job.
Okay. Your job.
Okay. All right. Part of it. All right. So, what do you think's going on? You think it's really hyper-partisanship?
No, I don't even think it has to do with
define hater.
Okay, so like you wake up in the morning and you like want confirmation bias for why the things are going bad in your life.
Okay.
And then like you go to Twitter or you go to Facebook or you go to Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is, Drudge Report, you go to Real Clear Politics, you go to any of these places.
Right.
So you can find a reason to be angry.
Okay, so let's start with some foundation. We got to lay the foundation. So are you saying that right now, today, do you think most people, are we talking about America? Are we talking about worldwide? Or let's talk about America.
Like there's some real awesome comfortability in being disappointed.
Right.
So people are like excited about the disappointment.
Right.
I knew it was going to happen that way. And then they were happy that it happened that way. Right?
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we're like telling ourselves it's going to be horrible. Right? We're not even being open-minded. Parachutes and mines, the only way they work if they're open.
Joe Rogan had this saying, and it's a quote from someone else. It's like,
who's Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
See, I'm such a hater.
Oh my gosh! Don't stop. He said something to the effect of like, I'm going to get hard times make hard men make soft times make soft men make hard times.
I guess like the easier it gets, the softer a person gets. I get it, but I don't think that has anything to do with
and not just to say it. I'm not putting it out there one way or the other.
Everybody's like this, like, but philosophical genius that they're going to come up with a reason why people suck right now is because it's good.
But that's what I'm trying to get at. That's why I'm trying to set the table.
I just think that everybody. I think there's a lot of comfortability in hating. Like it's really something comfortable.
This is what I'm trying to understand. Stop for a second.
Like we get validation for it. Like people go on social media and they will post something to get validation of it.
I love this.
Right? Think about it, right? Like you're going to post something like whether it's a meme or GIF or like, something where people are like, oh,
you really worried me with this topic, but I think you might be swerving into something.
But I know.
But I got to set the table.
Well, I know that if I post this gas price right now, I'm going to get 100 people to comment on it.
$5 a gallon.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to get 100 people to post on it. And so that hate is actually something that gives
Biden did that.
Or Trump did that. Or
whatever
it doesn't matter who it is.
Right. It's somebody.
It could be anybody. It could be the referees at the World Cup game.
Right. This is what I'm trying to understand. Is your overall thesis that social media and news media is wrecking us right now?
Or I don't think it's wrecking us. No, it's not. So like, you can't say that it's wrecking us. It's actually telling us that this is the stuff that we're valuing. We're valuing
it's just a reflection.
The disunity. Yes.
It's not a cause agent. It's a reflection.
Yes.
Is that how people are in general? Is it endemic to the human condition, or is it how people are now because people have gotten off course and they're gotten too soft or whatever it is?
I don't think it's about being soft or hard or any of that kind of stuff. I just think that like there's a big, huge, large group of human beings that are out there currently that like being disappointed because they want to be right.
Okay.
So many people want to be right.
Okay.
Rather than be happy, they want to be right. And for me, at least, I'd rather be happy than right.
Yeah. No. Yes.
So and so that's the kind of when you say you're such a hater, or there are people that say that you're such a hater, it's because everybody's in that mode now, right?
But do you feel like, okay, with the social media, do you feel like we see this Instagram and then this person is doing so great in their job?
Well, Dave Chappelle says Twitter's not a real place.
Right, he's right.
Yeah, and neither is Facebook.
Right.
What you see on Facebook, somebody probably looked at they took the picture 5 times and they took the best picture.
Photoshop, whatever it is.
Whatever, they Insta it. You got
But here's what's so crazy is that social media and digital is so powerful now. And now you have global, right? You have the reach. So you can.
But is it though? Like, so now we're cornering ourselves in their own little echo chambers, right? Like, so, Twitter was a place where everybody was, and there was like this passing of information back and forth, and it went all the way to the left side of the boat, and now it's going all the way to the right side of the boat, right? Some of the people left Twitter, and now they're at Truth Social. Some of the people are on Mastodon now, which is a brand new.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah, you haven't even heard of it. All the lefties are going to Mastodon.
Oh, okay.
Right? So now Twitter has just a place for people to just like create controversy.
Do you feel that? Okay, so do you feel? First of all, I got to get you. So I'd like to think you're a very smart guy, right? And you would call yourself. I'm not trying to. You tell me how would you label yourself? A progressive capitalist? What would you say? What would you say?
I love to make money. I love to help develop people so they can make more money and they can experience their life potential, or they can help enrich their family or give an opportunity for their family to grow.
Would you call yourself more of like a libertarian?
I mean, I guess it would be kind of a more of a like the classical definition of a liberal.
Okay.
That's probably, but most people don't. So people throw that at people now, right? The word liberal gets thrown at somebody.
I know. And what does it even mean?
It's like, well, classical liberal is completely different than that.
100%.
If you want,
classical liberal is conservative.
Yeah. Well, do yourself a favor. Go online and Google.
Google that.
Yeah, and people will be like, wait a second. So you've been throwing this name at people, thinking it's an insult, and it's actually the opposite of that.
So, okay, fine. So, I mean, people know my politics. If you follow my stuff, I'm a conservative, almost libertarian, right? And so, but, I don't care what anyone does as long as they don't hurt anyone else. I think that...
Well, that's very libertarian, right?
Right.
So, but at the same time, I think people...
But you need some government.
You can't make enough money without outrage.
Okay, so right.
So what I've been noticing lately, at least with some political agents, is they'll get in the corner and they'll say, well, this outrage occurred. Now donate to me so that I can be in office so that this outrage won't occur again. Right?
Okay, so
there's no solution to the outrage.
There's
more of like I'm going to create my outrage. We're going to get everybody on the left side of the boat or the right side of the boat. And then I'm going to take money from you.
But now we're going live to LinkedIn too, so we have to weave in the business angle here too, right? So, I mean, to what extent do you feel like this is, as a leader, right? Yeah. To what extent do you see this in the workplace? And do you think that to me, what you're saying is there is a component here of social media and new media, because now everybody has access to the net all the time, right? When I grew up, when I was a kid, way long ago in Western Pennsylvania, I mean, we had to get to the phone, you had to go all the way and you had dial up and you had the whole, right? Okay, you didn't have all this.
Well, where are you going with this?
Where I'm going with this is now, this is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So there is some kind of impact, because then, and you have studies out there that say the more you're in social media, for some people, the more depressed you get. I don't know. There's different things. Like there's a component here of modern life, right? That does also impact business.
There's two different lives, right? There's the life that you have on social media, and then there's life you have in real life.
Okay.
You know?
So how does that, so how does social, where do you see the role of social and digital in business right now?
Well, in business right now, it depends on the business that you're in, but like, okay, let's back up for a second. So we agree that if you do something outrageous on social media, it can ruin your business, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so perfect example would be who? Kanye West. He's out of his $1 billion shoe contract, right?
Yeah.
He's not doing it, right?
Yeah.
He's not in it anymore,
No.
right? And that's because he, made a stance,
right?
And that stance didn't fit well with a lot of people,
yeah.
right?
There's different things that happen.
So I think from a business perspective, you still have to be very careful about the brand that you're creating and what you represent as a company or a business, right? Because you can alienate a big, wide swath of consumers without even being woke. You follow?
Yeah, no, I do. But what's really interesting about that, and again, not to get too deep into the political, but I think I saw something. So
here's my opinion on social media with the business. If you're doing something that isn't for your customer, right, it doesn't benefit your customer,
sure,
then why are you doing it?
Okay,
right.
But okay.
So like, does it resonate with your customer? Is it something that you can actually deliver on, or is it virtue signaling?
Well, right. This is my whole thing about.
I don't think virtue signaling is something that works for the customer. There's no benefit for virtue signaling.
Well, this is the whole thing I was saying about Twitter followers.
But like if you go out and do something like we just did with the campaign where we raised over $103,000 for the Hurricane Ian victims.
That's amazing.
That resonates. That's a benefit for the customer base, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a completely different scenario than like changing, your background color on your screen
or whatever it is,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's just a lot of virtual signal.
Well, this is my problem with a lot of tech in Miami Tech and the Twitter files. They're like, everything was a cause, everything about the cause, and they're this cause, so you should give me, raising money. It's like, wait.
Well, they're just trying to grab awareness and validation. That's
what about your business? What about your technology? Does it actually work?
Yeah, that's probably a big thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if you're going to do social media, you got to look at, what's the benefit for our customers? Does it allow them to get to know us as a company? Does it allow you to highlight some of your great team members? Does it allow you to, show the customer what the benefit is?
What's the value add?
What is it getting the customer a chance to know who we are as an organization,
right?
Or know who our people are as an organization, because that's who they deal with.
Branding, right? Information,
something of that, value. Some of that. But I mean, like even like when you do, the wedding cookies on the weekends, right? Or the pie at one of the stores, right? It kind of connects you to like that person to person thing, and like a shared experience.
Right. Okay.
Right? So that's a little bit different.
But to your title,
I bet there's haters on pie.
You're such a hater.
Like I could post a bunch of stuff, and when I do, I always lose a couple people.
So you talk about
every Friday I'll lose like 2 or 3 followers.
Whatever.
And you want to know why? Because they hate pie. Or they hate cupcakes.
Whatever.
Or they hate whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But your thing of like people being haters, I think they did this now. Some of this political with some of the, I think for some of the boycott stuff, like they did like when Elon took over Twitter, they did some like sort of research and some forensic stuff. I think I read this. I might be wrong. It's my personal opinion of what I thought I read, a paraphrase. And it was like of some of these like mass, like, kind of protests and outrage, stuff like that. They weaved it down. It was like a handful of accounts just reposting everything. And so are the haters or the people that are outraged, are those the people that are disproportionately heard and driving things and driving corporate decisions?
I think there's actually some outrage that's, real.
Of course.
Right? Is there an algorithm to move your outrage higher? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I just think that sometimes whether it's the bots or whether it's like, astroturfing or whether it's just like, or even in our business, stuff like that, you could have 10 happy people and they may or may not get you a survey, but the one person who's not unhappy, you might hear from them a little bit more frequently, right? So to what extent are we weighting as corporate America and businesses weighting the negative versus the positive?
We've always been doing that, right? We've always been letting,
squeaky wheel or whatever.
Whatever it is, that maybe not the majority of the human beings think this way, but we're kowtowing to a window of individuals that may or may not have a lot of value and us making that decision. And that's why you can't make it, like I heard it a long time ago and Joe Rogan didn't say it, but you can please some of the people some of the time.
Right.
But you can't please all the people all the time. So like at some point you can't work any business into, looking at the exceptions as the rule.
Never let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And 80-20 rule, whatever you want to call it.
So you got to do more good than right. And you got to intentionally, you have to intentionally not try to do bad things.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean?
I want to come back to that and then we'll close off on that because I have a couple more ideas there to weave that together. But I want to put the Twitter files on the table here. I know my reaction. I've talked about that. What was your reaction to the Twitter files?
My reaction to the Twitter files?
Yes. Were you surprised by any of it?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Why would I be surprised?
Well, because you have a lot of.
It was a company in San Francisco.
Well, yes.
Yes.
But more than that.
That had a bunch of people who were engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
That were from Stanford and from.
Strangely enough, there seemed to be a lot of ex-intelligence people that were there.
Well, there's some of those people too, I'm sure. But I'm just saying at the same time, it's like it's
left-leaning, right?
That's who was there.
Oh,
You're in that neighborhood,
right?
So for anyone to be surprised that they actually, shadow ban people, or that they actually. Got rid of in a disproportionate manner people who were conservatives versus liberals.
Well, that's how I got it. Yeah.
For me, that's like going, what?
Right.
Really? You're surprised about that?
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I was crushing it, and who knows, right? But I mean, that's how I stumbled in the car business. I was crushing it on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, in a somewhat short period of time, and it was like, okay, and it's. Right. I've seen this stuff. I have a lot of stories. I don't want to lay them out now and here and everything like that. But I hear you.
But like nothing on there has come out. Like, what is interesting that, I think both sides actually asked for things to be suppressed. That did come out in the first drop.
Don't we have to get to a place where
so it was a company that is not, Twitter is, again, Twitter's not a real place, but it was a company run by somebody else, even though it was a publicly traded company.
But is it now the public square? Like
it's
the
no
telephone?
longer how's it the public square? Because somebody else, it's actually a singular person owns it now.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's his house.
The platform, whether
it's his house.
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
If you come to my house and you say things that I don't want you to say, I'm going to ask you to leave my house.
Okay, fine. But let me flip it.
I'm just saying, like, if you think about it from that standpoint, like literally, I'm okay with either way of it. Because it's his business.
Yeah, but I don't think that's. To me, someone.
If you're a real conservative, and you believe that somebody has a business and they can run the business the way that they want to run the business, then you'll let him do whatever he wants to do. You'll let whoever else has a business do it the way they want to do it.
Yeah, but I think there's a couple different angles on that. I think
why is there a couple different angles?
Because if you have a user
$500 million a year.
No, that's different than running
the federal government was not giving them $500 million to stay open.
Okay. Whether you have someone called Hugh Hewitt's show, and I can't remember who it is, and I apologize on that, but they made the point, and this is a constitutional lawyer, and so they made the point that look, whether it's quasi-government action, whatever, they made the point. I thought that was a great point. We have like 200 plus years of constitutional law scholarship by some really brilliant people. That's probably a good guidepost to go by. Like, why wouldn't you follow that? Like, if something's not blatantly constitutionally illegal, then let it go. I understand, but when
you still have to go into restaurants and you have to wear shirt and shoes and to get service.
But if you have a situation,
I'm just asking, is that true? Does that still?
Yeah, but okay, but like
you go to a really fancy restaurant and you wear flip flops and shorts.
But airlines. Okay, but hold on.
Does that work?
Hold on. An airline can be private, but still has to adhere to general rules and stuff. You can't say that you can. There's a certain parameter. What I'm saying is, if you have 500 million, a billion, 2 billion users on, there's a little bit of.
They don't have that many. They have 300 million.
Whatever. Still what?
But it's not.
That's a ton. That's a ton.
But it's not.
That's a massive amount.
It's not 300 million according to everybody because there's 100 million bots.
Okay.
So now we're down to 200 million.
Whatever it is, if it's a huge amount, don't you have some duty? Isn't it effectively a public square? I think these are arguments.
Well, so that's good. I like that. But so then if it is effectively a public square,
Like in other words,
but just let me finish.
let me just say, one thing.
No,
Okay,
no,
I just want. Okay, when you're done, I'll say something.
Okay, it's effectively a public square, and the people who are really upset about it not being tilted in their action, right, are rightfully upset about it, right? Correct.
I don't know. I don't know what
I'm just saying. Like,
they're
ones that they're worried. Oh, we told you we weren't conspiracy theorists. We were being banned, shadow banned.
Well, but they were right.
Okay, but hear me out.
Go ahead.
So now the new people.
Some of them. Anyway.
So now the new people, who are basically, being cut out of the system or not being able to move up the system, are they doing that? No, they're leaving. They're leaving.
Yeah, voting with their feet.
They're voting with their feet.
Yeah.
They're not saying, oh, it needs to be a public square and I need to have just as equal.
Well, okay, so for instance,
no, they're just saying I don't want to be here anymore.
Okay, for instance, like if you have I forget what the rules are.
So what do you think?
So
here's my.
You can't like lock the door during business hours. You can't say, oh,
yeah,
we're open
tonight. What do you think's going to happen? Like, think about this. What do you think is going to happen when there's only one group of people left in Twitter?
Oh, I haven't followed that closely. I've been on Twitter for a long time.
I'm asking that question. What do you think is going to happen when there's only one?
No, I mean, you want to have.
Because it's a business.
It's just like this. You want to have broadcasts. You want to talk to as many people as you can.
Absolutely.
And so what some people say is like.
No, it's a business.
I understand.
It's an advertising business.
Of course.
It's a marketing business.
And advertisers supposedly are coming back.
Are they? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Who? A lot of times, what happens with these boycotts?
All I see is the same ad all the time. It's Merrill Lynch. I see the Merrill Lynch ad. That's all it is.
I don't go on. I'm not really on Twitter.
Okay.
But I mean,
but you want to put Twitter files in here? I'm on.
Yeah, Twitter because I'm following the news of it.
But I've been on Twitter quite a bit.
I'm
actually an avid Twitter user.
What do you see?
I see Elon Musk tweeting more times than I've ever seen him before. I had to mute him. It was too much. He was tweeting.
Is it worse? So you're saying it's worse now?
No, I'm not saying it's worse. I'm just saying it's like. Don't you have another job? Like, it was cool when you had some exclusivity with him. There's no exclusivity.
He's overexposed.
It's like not. He's got to weigh in on everything all day, every day.
Dude, he's super smart.
Sure. At some point though.
Are you gonna? I mean, you see what he's done with Tesla and SpaceX. Are you betting against this dude?
Am I betting against him in Twitter?
Yeah.
Twitter lost $500 million a year.
Yeah. Well, obviously it wasn't run super great before.
But even if you grab from the X amount of accounts, which I don't think it's like 400 and some odd thousand people who are verified, and grab $8 from each one of them per month.
Yeah, that math doesn't.
You're still not going to get there.
Right.
Right. You're still not going to get there. That's
what percentage do you think is going to pay up for that?
What's that?
How many of you are going to pay?
Well, let's say everybody does. Let's say all 400,000. 400,000 times 8. What's that equal?
I don't know. That'd be
4 times 4 is
right?
what? That's
3.2 million.
That's 1.6 million. So yes, $3.2 million.
Okay.
So $3.2 million multiplied by 12 is what? Not $500 million.
38 million. 38.4.
Because that picks up $38 million.
Okay. It's way short.
It's not even 10% of the number. So if you pick up $38 million, but you lose $38 million or even $138 million.
So how do you think he fixes Twitter?
I don't know if he
can. Or do you think it's unfixable?
I think it's unfixable. There's a lot of businesses that don't make any money.
Right.
Yeah. You ever heard of MySpace?
Yes.
It's not in business anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Uber? Does that make money?
I don't.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So there's a lot of businesses that don't make money. They change our behavior, but make $0.
Do you think that social media?
Carvana.
Oh my gosh.
Does it make money?
Oh my gosh. I never.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of businesses, but now it's changed the way customers want.
A lot of people in our business were all like, "Oh, Carvana." Like, I never.
But I'm just saying, like, in general, there's things that.
But that's not a good business.
I know, but it doesn't. My point is like, it's a marketing business. It's the newspaper. And here's the deal. Ask people who are younger than us how much they're on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
What are they going to tell you? No, they're not on Twitter. They're on TikTok. They're on Snapchat. They're on other forms of social media, which they feel like they get more content and value.
Do you feel like that, like with social media, you mentioned MySpace and Facebook, and now some of these, like, it changes very rapidly. Like, there's just windows.
It's just windows.
I think that's right.
So if you spend $44 billion on a window,
you better be open for a little bit.
Think about it. And then you didn't do the math.
Why do you think he did it? Do you think he did it for business reasons? Does he see something? Or do you think he did it because of
Elon Musk? I couldn't answer
the free speech thing.
I mean,
that's fine.
If I was Elon Musk, I wouldn't have done it. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Just because I don't think there was enough value in it.
Very expensive.
I don't think you put $44 billion into it. right? It's not public anymore, so you're not going to get any, equity value out of it unless you remake it public, and it's not going to come back at $54.20, right? It's going to come back at like $13, right? Maybe $8. He can get his $8 per customer who wants to buy a share in his company, right?
But Jeff Bezos, he bought the Washington Post. How much money does he make off of that? I mean, sometimes
I have no idea.
Right?
I have no idea.
Is it strategic enough? And someone made this point, like it's really, I mean,
is it?
There's a lot of data there.
So, like, let me ask you a question. And I don't know.
I don't know the answer
about it either. But if, like, let's say that most of the Twitter revenue that was coming in from other manufacturers, like, your competitors,
right?
Do you think that those people are going to ever want to come back, regardless of whether or not you've cleaned up Twitter or if it's a fun, exciting place to speak?
That's tough.
Because, like, you're going to give him money,
right,
so that he can fund his new venture, so he can beat you.
It's kind of what was happening in Carvana with the whole cars thing.
But you follow what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I think it's $44 billion. He's been right on a lot of stuff, so you probably don't want to gamble against him. But, eventually someone's wrong.
Of course.
Right? Eventually. I mean,
no one's right about 100% of things 100%.
No. But so it's a big gamble. So to me, I don't think if it's losing $500 million and you paid $44 billion, right? Let's just, and obviously tech companies are a little bit different.
Yeah, right.
They're multiple. But if you were in a regular world, the multiple 5.
Well, you got to show the growth. You got to show the profits.
The regular world of a multiple of 5, so $44 billion would mean that it would make how much money?
A 5x would be about
$8.25 billion per year. So how is he ever going to get the $8.25 billion a year? If you're losing $500 million a year.
See,
and look at it, and just look at the
I think ads are tough. I think you have to have transactions.
But that's what it is. It's a newspaper. So you talked about him buying the Washington Post. This is like buying the Washington. This is the new Washington Post, right?
Or Rupert Murdoch with New York Post.
Yeah, but where are
sometimes there's a lot.
But that's what his life.
Right.
So it's a little bit different than somebody who's a manufacturer.
So going back as we close out here to the "You're Such a Hater," right? The haters.
The haters.
Yeah,
you're such a hater, bro.
The haters. How do we get out of that world? Do you think that's just?
I think it has to. I think there's a book that if you really want to get a good book.
Okay.
It's a book on like the 4 turns. Have you read that book?
I've heard of that.
Okay, so basically, it's like this cycle, this long-term, cycle of, generation. It's a generational cycle thing. The 4th turning is what it's called, right? So I think we're going to go through these turns, and then eventually people will say that's not cool anymore, right?
See, I'm overall an optimist. I always believe that it's all.
But I think that's how, like, the finding satisfaction in disappointment or finding satisfaction in being right is going to be outweighed by people who want satisfaction and hope.
So,
like, eventually that's what turns, right? You know what I mean? Like, people go from wanting to be pessimistic to wanting to be hopeful.
Right, absolutely.
Right? Because they're tired of the pessimism.
Yeah. So it's cyclical.
It's cyclical. Yeah.
So let's
like think about this. Like, and I say this all the time to, I have kids that are younger than me, and they say stuff like, "Oh, this sucks," and that sucks, and I'm like, "Oh, it really sucks." You're sitting in an air-conditioned car.
Yeah. Try growing up when we grew up.
With Wi-Fi.
Oh my gosh.
You have your own phone. You can look at movies, TV shows, football, whatever you want. Nonstop, constantly, right?
Yeah.
You have food in your belly, right? You're connected to the world.
Yeah.
Right? So is that are we in a horrible place, or are we in like a place that has never happened before in the history of the world? If I went back to 1922 or 1923 and I compared their life and the things that they were dealing with versus what we're dealing with today, we'd all probably,
be very thankful.
We put all of our things on the table and take them all back. All of our like issues and all the things that we really don't think's going great with our life would be like, oh, we'll take that back. You can keep malaria. You can keep syphilis. You can keep, dying
all kinds of stuff.
Because you went to work building
Great Depression.
You can keep all that stuff, right? And I think that's like missed a lot. Like when we talk about "You're such a hater, bro," it's like we don't look at the good stuff that's going on, right? I talked about it today, right? I said yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. today is a gift. That's why they call it the present, right?
Right.
And I said that before because I think a lot of people don't live in the here and now.
Right.
They're not present in the day.
Right. If I get X, this promotion, this job, this house.
So their perception or their expectations are always focused in on like what happened in the past and what may or may not happen in the future, right? And so like they're building all these expectations that may never be met. And so their perception is like completely discombobulated.
So as a
then
parent,
they're happiness.
As a parent or as a leader, how do you combat that? How do you deal with that?
How do I deal with people's expectations getting further out than what they should be?
Right. And do you think that things have fundamentally changed with the pandemic? Like, do you think that people are tired of trying to climb the corporate ladder? They want remote work. Do they want a balance? They want time off, vacation. Like, do you think that they want something fundamentally different? Has the paradigm shifted, or is it just something that's going to swing back to more normal?
Well, so here's how business works. So if everybody wants to work from home, right, and everybody doesn't want to come into work and they don't want to do things.
Elon's dealing with that.
They don't want to deal with menial labor. Business will find a way to replace them, and they won't have to do that anymore. Right?
Whether it's robots or whatever.
Artificial intelligence, machines, robots, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They will take over.
Chat GPT or whatever it is.
Because business just wants predictability.
Okay.
Right.
So here's my costs, here's my outputs.
Whatever. Like I can't hire enough salespeople. Eventually, it becomes a problem. I still need to sell things, and I can't hire enough salespeople. I want to figure out how to sell it without having a person. Right.
That's awesome.
Right. If you can't, if you can't build enough textiles, eventually you're going to have to find robots to build the textiles, right? Eventually you're going to have robots.
The restaurant industry is looking at some of this.
The restaurant's the same way, right? Like you go to some places and they don't have they don't have a cashier anymore.
Wow.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, like you can hate on things long enough, and eventually, guess what happens? They won't be available to you.
So
so your purpose is going to have to change in the future. So your expectations need to change.
Some people are talking about this like
perception is the key, really. Like honestly, it's like if you have this perceived expectation that can never be met, you're never going to be happy or satisfied.
See, some people are talking about this like minimum income and like how does it get
UBI?
Yeah, UBI. Yeah. Right. Right.
I don't know how it's going.
I think we should.
I know we can look at Japan right now. And we can see that they have a really weird situation going on.
Yeah.
Where like there's parts of the country that are like gone.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to live there anymore.
Yeah.
Because they've changed their culture so much to focus in on business and business alone that people don't raise families anymore, and people, don't want to buy houses anymore. And they don't want to have, big yards, and they don't want to, and so these people are moving out of these small villages and they're moving to Tokyo. They're leaving, the villages.
Right.
And so that like the only way that you can get somebody to move back to those villages is like give them a free house.
Yeah. Right. Something.
You have to do something to get them there.
Well, that's how some of the
or have them work from home.
Right.
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 The difference between West migration though is resources though. Mm-hmm. And no, me and you aren't digging ditches for resources anymore.
No.
Right.
I think
most of the land's spoken for.
I really feel like it's going to be a return to some entrepreneurship. I really feel it's going to go that way. I think you're going to have some of the big companies and some mega companies, but I think we're going to see more entrepreneurship, and not like the cool factor. But I feel like you're going to see a lot more of that break out, as opposed to, hey, some people are working, the robots are working, the rest of the people are sitting around and they're getting a UBI. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the pandemic was a nice dry run for UBI, but there's a lot of people that liked it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
I think the workers and the achievers and the people who want to, have that kind of life are still going to be going.
Okay.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I met with this guy who's a generational guy, and he like tested like the difference. There was a schism in the millennial generation. They call them millennials and megalennials. Like a millennial is someone who's extremely entitled.
Right.
Who doesn't want to work, won't do some of the things that they need to do to be super successful. And then a megalennial is like they're born into this technology-rich world, and they want to work their butts off, and they actually
leverage it.
They actually don't like the millennials. They don't even like being associated, even though that's part of their generation.
Totally different,
right? So, and then you have the Gen Zers who they're going to be buying cars, they're going to be buying products soon. They're completely different than the millennials are, right? So, I guess my point in saying all that is that like let it roll through. We're going to have plenty of haters to come through, but I think you're going to see that.
I'm an optimist. I think it's interesting.
I think you're going to have that shift. I think you're going to have that pessimism shift to optimism. And I think that we'll have less haters because it won't be something that will be validated.
So do you think
people post stuff, like younger kids, they don't get overly excited about memes or GIFs that are negative.
Okay.
Like that's not like their thing.
That's old. Yeah. Okay.
That's like that's for us grandpas with gray beards.
Okay.
And we get validation from posting some goofy GIF or meme, right?
So we've seen it all before.
Yeah.
Or do you think there's something fundamentally different about now? And are you worried, or as last major topic here, or mini topic, are you worried at all about machine learning, AI, robotics, that kind of stuff, now that we see ChatGPT or whatever it's called?
No. I think ChatGPT is a little bit overhyped right now.
Okay.
I think it's probably something that's pretty cool, but I don't think it's like something that's overly monetized yet or monetizable yet. So I'm not worried about what artificial intelligence will do, because you still can't. Imperfection is actually a good thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like some of the most beautiful things have a little bit of imperfection.
Not always logical.
Yeah.
I understand.
And I think if you go AI 100% of the time, it's not going to have any imperfections, and it's going to be a problem because computers are almost too perfect, and it doesn't seem real to a human being.
So 2023, more optimistic or more pessimistic?
I think 2023 is a return to people who want to work.
Okay.
I think it's, I think there'll be a little bit less cash out there in the market. So the way that you're going to get it is by putting more effort in.
Okay.
There's only two things that you can measure in life is participation and performance, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not participating a heck of a lot more in 2023, your performance is going to be much lower.
Okay.
So I'm optimistic because I think that's a good thing for people to win by work and effort, and not by circumstance.
Right. So returns are fundamentals.
Yeah, I think that helps people appreciate their wins a little bit more. They know how hard it was to earn it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very interesting conversation. I wasn't sure where it was going to go. The great Gino Walsh. I appreciate it. Hey, I'm John D. Villarreal. Love to hear. We'll try to follow up on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. If you've got some comments out there, for always, I'm John D. Villarreal. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.